Eboni K. Williams is not a favorite amongst African American men, and for a good reason. Eboni K. Williams is a very talented woman, very beautiful and astute, but Eboni K. Williams has a very poor attitude, and this is what keeps ladies like her and other women of any other race around the world perpetually single. But Eboni K. Williams, like many other people out there, they have one issue that a lot of men complain about. That is, they have a lack of self-awareness. You see, being self-aware is very important for growth and development. We must all understand that we are not perfect, we have flaws, and in order for us to grow, we need to turn those flaws into strengths to be able to become a better person. But for people like Eboni K. Williams, everything is somebody else's fault. The same thing with some of these toxic creators like Cynthia G. They will never look at their own dust in their closet. They will say that you're the reason why they have dust in their closet, and because you're so low, you could never be like them. So because of you, and I'm talking about black men, you're the reason why them and other sisters around the world have problems. This is what a lot of black women, kind of agree with her on this point in this merit, is that, hey, we're perfect. Nothing is wrong with us as women. Everything is wrong with men. And so this is why Eboni K. Williams felt it was imperative to tell black women that you should not even seek marriage or anything, just seek sperm.
Black women are availing ourselves to all of the options that our hard work and circumstances currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now. Because black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing.
Now remember, that's a woman telling, black women, don't even worry about trying to get married to these guys. Don't worry about that. Trying to get married to them is useless. You want to have kids who look like you, even though the sperm might not be there, and we know that black male sperm is on the decline. So this is all you need to do. You can raise these kids by yourself, and that's all you need to do. But as we know, that's not a real good idea, because no thriving community has women raising kids by themselves. I don't care if any culture, of any race. You look at the top of the food chain of any earners in America by race, the poorest people that struggle the most, I don't care how much education you think you have, are ladies who don't have a husband in the house. It is what it is. We're humans. We need communities like any other mammals. And for that, we need help. And men and women play their defining roles in relationships. But I guess the sperm thing isn't working out too good for black women. So now she's changing the narrative. Since the sperm thing isn't working, look at what she's saying now.
The reality that needs to be said out loud is that as black men age, their desirability increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding. And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. Because the number of college-educated black men is so low when compared to black college-educated women that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men. And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young black woman in college, and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD.
So she makes some admissions that she wouldn't make in the first clip. And she's saying now that, our fertility is dwindling. And of course, I believe that is what she believes when it comes to her. Because remember, Eboni K. Williams really wanted to get on the Real Housewives of Atlanta again. They said no. She was the only one that wasn't invited back. And one of the things that she wanted to be able to talk about is her experience, buying a new house and her trying to get pregnant by herself. The only issue is that nobody cares about Eboni K. Williams that much to care about what she's doing. Again, overinflated ego with not that much results, or that anybody should care about her unless she's saying things like this, which absolutely make no sense. But in this case, she's talking about the fact that, these young black women need to get married in college, which is bravo, give her a round of applause. That is what a lot of white women do and Asian women do. And again, she just couldn't wait but take a little bit of a sneak shot at black men, which is what she is known for. Shout out to Eboni K. Williams for that. But now all of a sudden she's talking about the advantages that men have. Men can extend their fertility longer. They have more options as they get older. And yet here you are talking and giving advice to women, telling them to marry young, especially marrying younger when they have still somewhat of an advantage. But if a man is successful, he won't have to deal with what Eboni K. Williams is telling them. As young women, don't be like me. Why? I'm a lady that got a bad attitude. And I'm sorry, this is going to sound a little ageist or maybe a little sexist, but I need to say this. Here's what happens when you're dealing with people that are over 40, male or female. Their ability to be malleable to change, it stops. I'm 42 now. If I wanted to learn a language, I probably should have done it a little bit early on in my life. Don't get me wrong, I still find myself somewhat intelligent, but I was more open to the world when I was younger. All right. The issue is when you're marrying somebody, male or female, but let's put it into this perspective. You're dealing with somebody that's a woman that is Eboni K. Williams' age. Getting married to her means that attitude that she has, or possibly Jeannie Mai has, that attitude is something that you're going to have to deal with. And nobody has ever checked her on that before. So what is happening is that, a woman like her who was very intelligent, very beautiful, and if you're a rich guy, you would take that in consideration because she's not going to need your money. She's not going to be asking for your money. Now, I know a lot of guys say, hey, we don't get married for money. But you know what? One thing is true. Like, it's definitely helps if a woman isn't always trying to get you for your money, right? That's definitely true. But the problem that separates Eboni K. Williams is a bad attitude. A bad attitude. But again, let me just talk about having a bad attitude. If a man has options and you have a bad attitude, and I think anybody who's a leader, and I've heard Coach Deion say this and I say this, it shows me that, number one, you are not willing to change to be in this relationship, which is the problem that Jeannie Mai is having. I have to go through too much torture. You're inconsiderate as a person. You don't feel like nothing is your fault. And when you listen to, this young woman talk, it's clear that she believes that nothing is her fault. But secondarily, as a man, because as men, we have to be very self-aware if we want to grow. It makes me want to get rid of you because you don't need to be here. If I have to confront issues and situations dealing with you, you're not going to be here. But here's what we need to tell women also, that if you're going to get married young and you have somebody like Eboni K. Williams teaching you, you will be getting divorced. You need to also, if you're going to get married young, you got to know it's a compromise. It's a sacrifice. That word submissive that a lot of ladies don't like, I don't care how young you are, if you don't have that trait for the guy who's doing something for you, you will be gone. There is no doubt about it. You're out of there. I can promise you that. So now you're trying to tell young women to get married early on, maybe so they can get divorced early on and have a kid and all of this, whatever the case may yield. But you know what? Now you're seeing that they're coming to the point. They're starting to realize that, hey, listen, a lot of this feminism talk, it doesn't work. These guys have the upper hand, especially the men that we want. So let's get ahead of ourselves. And she's getting some hatred from black women from that. But it's the truth. Some black women are pissed off at her about it. And that's true. But hey, here's the thing. These other groups are doing it. These other white women are doing it. Hispanic women are doing it. Hey, if you don't compete for some of these guys right now, they're going to be gone. That's the truth. You don't have to like it, but it's true. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.